Good evening, Oregon Trail Council. Welcome to your Fireside Chat for the 10th of September, a smoky, ash-laden background. And I'm glad to see all of you on here safe and sound. Laura was just telling us that she's been on generators since, what'd you say, Monday night, Tuesday there, Laura?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, pretty tough. Yeah, I came home from work Tuesday night and I had to think about which animals I might have to take with me. But so far, the fire has stayed away from my place in Monroe. So we've got tonight our special guest is Amy Beach. She'll chat with us about the venturing program, and then as always we'll go to generalized comments and concerns, questions. If you have things that you'd like to have answered going forward, whether we do it tonight or do it in the future, go ahead and use the chat facility, and we'll know what you have an interest in. And then Rob will post this video on Facebook later on so that you can review this, or your compadres can review this later on. So, Mr. Scott Impekoven, do you have some good words for us this evening?
I've got a few things to talk about, yeah. Just want to, a couple of things we've already talked about for several weeks, several of our fireside chats. We do have a couple of fundraising special events coming up within the next couple of weeks. Our auction is a week from tomorrow, so September 18th. We ran into some glitches today, so we actually, rather than going live or online with our silent auctions tomorrow, we'll actually go online and start that process on Monday. But we'll have until, I think, Friday evening or Saturday evening for the silent auction items bidding process. So rather than starting tomorrow, that will actually start on Monday. But the actual auction itself will be from 7 to 8 next Friday, the 18th. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you go to the council website and you can get signed up on the council website. We have a council golf tournament on October 5th, and that's at Eugene Country Club, and we're excited. We don't think we need a whole lot of changes to that. We'll have less as far as gathering at the end of the event, but everything else should look about the same. A couple of things that came out of our annual business meeting yesterday here at the council office. We are realigning couple of our districts and basically merging Benton and Yaquina districts into one district. So Lincoln and Benton counties will be served as one district rather than the two that it has been in recent times. Yet to be determined as far as the name of that particular district. We'll see what it will be. You know, a lot of the discussion yesterday was about programming for our units. And we need to make sure that our units are actively scouting right now. So a couple of things that the council is looking forward to within the next few months. We are looking forward to scouting for food. We think we can do scouting for food and make that happen, especially now with our communities in such big need. We want to make sure that we're helping contribute to the overall success of our communities and people in our communities. So we're going to work to try to make scouting for food come off. And at this point, the date is November 7th, first Saturday of November. And there'll be some changes as far as how we do that. Part of that is we're really encouraging units to do that as a family unit. And then pick up those items and bring those items in to a central location, and we'll have some people here masked and ready to take that, and we've got to work with the Salvation Army to make sure that that happens. But we think that's something that the community really needs, and we need to make sure that that happens in all of our communities in our council. The other thing is our plans right now are to run a Klondike in January. We've done that for several years. We've talked about ways that we can make that happen, and we think, we may have to limit the attendance on it, but we still think we can make Klondike happen and make it happen in a manner that's safe for all of our volunteers and all of our scouts. So those are upcoming, and we look forward to some in-person scouting that's put on either by district or council. The other thing I will mention is right now we're looking at doing our Haunted Trails program for Cub Scouts late in October. We've got some people working on that, and we'll get you more information as that comes about. But we talked about that a little bit internally here in the council office, and we thought, do we want to do a virtual program like we did with day camp, which was a great success. As we started discussing it, several people decided that we'd really like to do an in-person one. Again, we're going to probably have to limit the attendance at it, but we think we can make that happen again in a safe manner. So we're trying to get as much programming out there for our units and make sure that they can take advantage of those. We did have a new slate of officers that were presented yesterday and approved. I want to say thank you to John Anderson, who's been our council president for the last year and has done a great job. He's staying on the executive committee as the immediate past president and nominating chairman, and he's also working with a strategic planning committee. We approved a strategic planning committee to look at the next 2 or 3 years as council. Obviously, we're not the same council we were 5, 10 years ago. We're not the same council we were a year ago. We've changed. Things have changed. We need to take a look and see how we can best service scouting, our volunteers and our scouts in the council, and do it in a manner that also helps us basically run a business, because that's what we have to do. We have to make sure that our business can continue on and make sure that we can continue scouting in our geographical area. So we've got that committee looking at it and seeing, they'll make some decisions on what staff's going to look like, what programming is going to look like, and again, as more information comes out from that, we'll let you know. I want to say congratulations to Chris Valentine. Chris Valentine was selected yesterday, approved yesterday, just came on as our new council president. He's been involved with the council for quite a number of years and served the last several years as our council treasurer, and say thank you very much to Chris, obviously all the board, all of the committee. That's quite a task to take on, and I have to say, John Anderson came in as council president in a year that probably nobody would want to be council president, and did a great job with helping us through that time. The other things just want to mention real quickly is Journey to Excellence. Heard earlier this week that there are some changes to unit Journey to Excellence forms, requirements, and we'll get that information out to you, make that available to you. But we will not be tracking Journey to Excellence for the district and the council for the remainder of this year and into 2021. It's hard to compare yourself year to year when you're in a year like 2020. You just can't compare it to previous years. So those are a few changes, and just wanted to get everybody caught up on those and say thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you, Scott. Do appreciate that. It's been a quick several weeks. There's just no doubt about that. As well as a pretty good year. I'd like to point out that we've got some folks that we don't get to see very often on here. Laura Pinello, thanks for joining us tonight. Let's say hi to Jim. He's at Island, so I won't say hi to Jim. Mark Stevie, good to see you here. And Amy Beach, glad to see you here as well. And then we got another guy on here, Gene somebody that I don't know who you are. Oh, come on, Gene. Be a sport. he was out walking around in his house. Looked like a, something Halloween kind of stuff. Very good.
Well, I was trying to put a virtual on it, wouldn't go.
Yeah, you're doing good. You're doing good. Yep. Masked man there. Okay. Our special guest tonight is, well, she's here and okay, now she's back again. Our special guest tonight is Amy Beach. She's still trying to get connected to audio. And she is if you want to know about venturing programs, Amy is the expert in that particular arena. And we look to her for guidance on how to continue scouting as our kids get older. Amy, you're muted right now. Perhaps you can unmute and then tell us about yourself and tell us about venturing, Oregon Trail Council and the state of that going forward. Amy, you're on. Are you supposed to be on?
Can you guys hear me okay?
It's like an old Saturday Night Live skit. What she said was.
Can you hear me? Nothing?
Barely.
Barely, yeah.
What she said was.
That'll help.
Help. All right. Donut Shop's being nice enough to let me sit in here with a computer. Just transferred from the phone to the computer. I'm the only one in here at the moment, so we'll try for that.
Take it away.
All right. Venturing. Venturing is the probably least known scouting group within DSA, if I had to guess. We service youth ages 14 to 21, co-ed. Our whole goal and our whole point of existence, for the most part, where did I go? There we go, is to help guide those older youth. We follow, there's 4 major criteria that we're always looking at: adventure, leadership, personal growth, and service. All of those, though, are good in and of themselves, but when you take this age group, 14 to 21, you're really talking about high school students going into early college. And the thing that really seems to work the best with these young people is setting goals. Taking their interests of maybe what they are interested in, not only as hobbies, but possible career paths, because most of them are kind of starting to funnel down what they're interested in for a career. And by taking the components that adventure, leadership, personal growth, and service, you take those 4 aspects and you integrate them into their personal goals or the goals of the entire unit. And you really come up with something kind of magical in a lot of ways. Rob, am I able to screen share?
You can be.
We'll see.
Co-host.
Yeah, you'll have to control it from your end.
Okay. Coming up. There we go. I put together a video. So I've been doing venturing for about 10 years. Everything from having only girls in the crew to only having 3 kids. And now we're up to probably a dozen to 15 that show up on a regular basis. Kind of been there, seen it all, got the t-shirt on most cases. But the best part about venturing is honestly that the kids don't want to stay just within our unit. They like their little tight-knit group, but they're always looking to do things with other units. So lots of times you'll see us at Camp Rees, you'll see us at rendezvous, and we'll have the venturing village area. And that venturing village is any of the ventures that come. We get together, we hang out. It's not a competition. It's a time for them to get together and chat and just kind of share what they've been doing in scouting. So let's see if I can get this to go here.
So far, so good. Hooray!
Should we be hearing something?
This all stuff that your crew has done there, Amy?
I'm going to go ahead and end it there. It gives you an idea, though, of things that we do. We are high adventure based, so the more high adventure, the better. Most of you have heard of NYLT, right? The whole structure of most of our high adventure activities is based off of the same NYLT format, except that we put it in the outdoors. We take the experiences that they go through each time, and you couple those with leaders in your unit that, for example, talk on communication. And you have a brief talk in the morning about what communication is. And then as you go throughout the day, you have your leaders that are able to guide different instances and examples of either problems that have come up with communication or things that have gone right that day, or maybe you're working on various service projects. So you end up talking about how the service impacts not only the youth, or not only the people you're doing the service for, but for the youth as well. So hang on here, let me see. Is my video back? There we go. Venturing. I don't know, you guys, what are some questions that you guys have? Because that's where I do the best in explaining what venturing is. Scott.
My guess would be a lot of people that aren't familiar with venturing would say, gee, it sounds like it's so challenging because I'm dealing with young adults, both male and female. What has been your experience of how your male and female crew members work together?
Actually, it's quite interesting. We end up with quite the group. Obviously, girls up until this year haven't had the opportunity to be in Scouts. And so lots of times we have girls who don't have the background of what a totemship is, or, you know, or your fireman's chip and your totemship, anyhow. Or they don't know what a merit badge is or what it's like to earn a merit badge. And so they come in and they want the structure, they want the organization, they want to get out and go, whatever it takes, you know. And then lots of times the guys are coming in, a lot of times from other units, from other troops, going, you know, I'm ready to just kick back and enjoy the ride. it mixes up some, but honestly, between the youth, you find an equal footing that you don't see in school. You find an equal footing that you don't see in the community a lot of times, because you're taking them and you're putting them in these high adventure settings. And a lot of times they find a way to help each other. So example being a young man who is very, very afraid of heights. And a young lady who has no fear at all. You end up pairing the two of them up with, you're in a group, but they become each other's teammate. One is on belay for the other. And the trust that it ends up incorporating in each other is incredible. And as far as the dynamics of boys and girls, honestly, it's not an issue. We have YPT. We stick with the YPT guidelines. We just stay within that. They know the rules. All of my youth take YPT so that they know where the adults are coming from. I know it's not required, but it's an easy way for us to say, hey, this is the expectation. Here's the box. In this case, you have to stay within it. And the joke, any of the youth that know me know my saying is no paperwork. So the whole idea is that you go outside that YPT box or any of the safety boxes, and it's going to cause Amy paperwork, and Amy gets a little grumpy at paperwork. So, but no, as far as the male and female, that's generally, it's, if anything, they're more supportive of each other within the program. Because
Amy,
you
what are
end up
some
with more of that team
specific things that
atmosphere.
you're-
Yeah.
what are some of the specifics that your particular crew has done? You got a list of the top 5 things that they've done best?
Top 5, I would say first trip, the first high adventure that we did was to San Francisco. It was all land navigation, as in no iPhones, no technology of any kind, and they had to learn how to navigate their way around the city, old school. So using info kiosks, maps, timetables and schedules for all the public transportation. Honestly, that still ranks on one of my top. As a leader, you're there just simply to keep them from, I always say in venturing, the leaders are only there for the last 3%. So 97% youth led. The leaders are there not to stop the kids from falling, just to keep them from hitting the ground too hard. They got on a trolley going the wrong direction once, and we let them get on the wrong trolley.
Yeah. What was your number 2 best?
Number
was the
2,
second
number 2, I would say Catalina Island, where we were kayak camping around the island. So just like you do a backpacking trip, we were doing that in kayaks, so different place every night. Number 3, I would have to say, is probably Belize. We spent 10 days in Belize. Number 4, I would put NYLT up at Malacca. We have a large number of staff that love to go up to Malacca. Jim, you had a question?
Yes.
Jim had a question.
Now that both male and female youth are allowed in the Order of the Arrow, and venturing is allowed in the Order of the Arrow, how do you think that program can enhance venturing, teaching the kids service and that?
The biggest problem we're having right now with our venturers getting into Order of the Arrow is the requirement of a 5-day overnight. Summer camp for venturing is not very popular. It's so, as a unit, we only do our really big trips every other year. And so in the off year, you don't end with that 5 nights, or we end up with 5 days, 4 nights typically. Because we're doing our own thing. We plan all of our own adventures. We're not going to a summer camp every summer where it's already planned for you, and I'm not putting it down, but you pretty much show up, right? And the program is there for you. Everything we do is planning our own program. So with the logistics that come with that, we're typically every other year on the big trips. So you're going to have an off year with a lot of the crews where they're not going to qualify for Order of the Arrow. So that's one of the issues. As far as what Order of the Arrow can bring to them, honestly, venturing parallels a lot of what Order of the Arrow does as far as service. The number of service hours required in venturing is significantly higher than that of any other group in order for them to achieve rank. So, I mean, they can come alongside each other and just change their rules to allow, literally within the last couple of weeks, to allow credit now from troops to be applied to crew activities. In the past, we've never been allowed to do that. So I'm looking forward to some changes there.
Very good, very good. So those of you around the council here, you can see that there's a variety of activities out there that you may not have been aware that Amy and her crew have been able to get into. So you can imagine taking a group of kids to Belize, did you say, for 10 days?
Yes.
That's pretty exciting. So, and like you said, about 97% of it belongs to the kids, and then about 3% is what you have to put into it. So that's pretty hot stuff. I think there's been a little bit of experience here and there. South Coast down there, I think my friend Mark Stevie has had some background in venturing. And
Yes.
Mark, did you have anything that you wanted to add to what Amy was talking about here?
Actually, no, I have no experience with venturing. Tim Bueller had a lot of experience real early on down in Brookings and had a co-ed troop, and he kind of echoed what Amy was saying in that the girls would join and be way behind in camping skills, but in just two or 3 months, they'd be right there on top of things. They learned very quick and were very competent campers really quickly.
And they were quality
I
to start with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
And
been a very interesting thing.
And with my group, when I had a venture crew, as long as you laid the rules down between the boys and the girls, and I had kids who had been toddlers together. This is Pleasant Hill. We're very insulated. They understood, like she said, where the lines are, where the box is. You don't have any trouble.
Yeah. So this is a program that would bear expanding, quite frankly, and that's precisely why we asked you to get more tonight, Amy.
They're so excited about being a part of it. It's something that they want to do so bad that they will stay within the rules in order to do it. I mean, it's a program that they truly love. And when you have when you've got a strong program, if you can make that strong program, they're going to abide by the rules because they don't want it to go away.
Yeah, it's a good program. It'll work if we'll just install it. Mark, do you have something else?
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I've been reading a lot about the Gen Z and how they're different and that they really are community and civic minded. Are you finding that the younger scouts are aligned with the scouting values and enjoying where we're going?
Absolutely. 2 years ago, we had, when Paradise had the big fire that went through there, the kids were the ones that came to me, and they ended up raising $2,000 to send down to Paradise just because they felt like they needed to give back to the community. I fully anticipate this is my crew meeting night. Don't be surprised if somebody sticks their head in here pretty soon.
Yeah, we're about wrapped up.
I fully expect that they're going to be saying, okay, what are we going to do?
Right, exactly.
Community service is huge for them.
Good. Very good. Scott?
I was just going to ask Amy, what do you feel, because I think one of the biggest challenges we've got right now is the lack of numbers that we've got involved in the venturing program right now. And I think probably your crew misses out on maybe even working with, supporting other crews, council-wide. So in your view, what do you think the keys to growing the venturing program in our council is?
Honestly, it's not the uniform. It's showing up where the kids are and doing activities that the kids are doing as a group. So for example, we go to Crux and we wear just our Class Bs, right? Our activity shirts, sorry. And we don't even mention that we're a scout group. They invite their friends. It ends up being just a big get together. And at the very end, we simply say, hey, you want to join us next time? We're going to go do whatever, right? And it works. The kids just start showing up. And usually after the second time they come, so we do that once a month, first Thursday of the month typically. We have just a huge get together of every crew or any scout age 14 to 21, you know, anyone in the scouting community ages 14 to 21. We'll probably start doing it again next month, but we would say, hey, we'll be at Crux this night from this time to this time, bring your friends, show up, let's go have a good time. It wasn't necessarily a scout activity, it was a recruiting activity. And after the second time, so they would go to Crux one time and meet us at the park for a picnic dinner the next time. And we'd just have Frisbees or whatever thrown around. Or we did a escape room outside at Alton Baker. We set one up there. They were huge. After the second time, the kids are like, well, do you guys do this more often? Well, yeah, we meet every week. Really? Can I come too? Yeah,
All the time. All the time.
all the time. You know, in fact, we're going to be doing this, you know, so that's the kind of thing that really brings the kids in, as well as them inviting their friends. And as soon as, this is the hard part about venturing though, is your leaders. You have to have leaders that aren't always parents, because at that teenage age, they're not always interested in hanging out with mom and dad, right? So having a couple of leaders that aren't necessarily mom and dad is always a good thing, especially if you've got, like, we've got a few 21, 22, 23-year-olds that are starting to come back into venturing and become adults within the unit, and that's helping a lot. So they're really looking up to those.
Very good. Very good. Jim, one more comment, then we need to wrap up.
I know you guys are really community service oriented, and I read about when the snowstorm hit, you were out doing stuff, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
And the publicity from that really helps the general scout message. Do you have any
Absolutely.
plans with the fires, evacuation centers, anything like that, you know, you guys are talking about?
I'll be letting you know tonight. I know it's on their agenda.
Their
So
agenda
I
is
got
the key. Yes.
Well, it is. It's their
Yes.
agenda. So yeah, I got the text message tonight. You know, the group text tonight. Hey, by the way, we changed the agenda. And, you know, and so I look at it, and sure enough, that's actually the second thing on the list. The first one is introductions. So
Very good.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Very good. So you're available for consultation if anybody has a desire.
Always.
And Mark Stevie's got his hand up one more time. Okay, Marcus. Okay, yep, I agree.
Yeah, actually, that was just clapping. Yep. Amy, it was wonderful to see you. Thanks for hearing from you.
Good to
Thanks for
see you again,
sticking in with it.
Absolutely. Love it.
That's important.
All right.
Anything else to the good of the order before we wrap up? Okay, you're welcome to stay and chat, but we're at the it's 7:10, so we're going to wrap up the formal side of this thing, and then you go informal from this point forward. So thanks so much for attending our fireside chat. We'll look forward to speaking with a whole bunch of you again next week and the weeks after. Thank you very much. Good night.